Welcome to the Audible, and the games are for real, and the pace needs to be sped up. I am joined by my guys, Donnie, RightSide, and the Whale Capper, and we are not messing around. And our last 3 months of study comes into play right now. First off, let's meet the guys. Donnie, RightSide, how you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Doing good. Ready to talk a little bit of NFL football. Got that nice little morsel in last night. Well, if you like defensive football, you certainly got it in. But we got a lot more to talk about this weekend on Sunday. We've been waiting a long time for this show, Jimmy. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun, and look at the Whale Capper coming from sunny Las Vegas. Looking good, my guy. How you doing on this Friday afternoon?
You know, a lot of people use a green screen to pretend they're somewhere cool, but I really am on the strip today. It's celebrating the Happy New Year. We get back into the NFL this season. I cannot wait to cap this card with you guys. Let's get into this.
Let's get into this. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Robert Weimer, Kyle Jack, Jake P. We got Jake P. Joe Yurkovich, who saved me $500 by going off on my futures last year. I did not have Colts futures, all because of this man right here, Joe Yurkovich. We got Giorgio in the house with the under 51 Bucks 49ers. Lock it up. I know a capper on this show who likes the over in that game enough for me to be very concerned. Joe Yurkovich is on the over in Detroit, Arizona. Sorry, Jimmy, I'm not on the over or the under. I'm just on Detroit -2.5. Brandon Lugo says, we finally here first Sunday on deck. Let's get it. Tom Marino, Tomo ready to get to work. Antoine Seymour, Dennis, Donahue. Thank you for all you guys joining us. And we're going to be fast here because we got to get through each and every one of these games. And then we're going to spend a little bit of extra time on the Sunday nighter, Patriots, Steelers, and the big 2 Monday night games. So let's get right to it. Also, we are going to be tracking all our plays this year. Transparency, honesty, and we'll see how we do. We'll see how we do. I guess I don't know much other. I can't guarantee anything except transparency and honesty. Although I hope we're in the black heavy plus units. I've already locked in plays. Donnie RightSide's already locked in plays. Whale Capper's already locked in plays. And we will go through them. But first, we are going to start with the game where I am not on a play. And that's Falcons Vikings. We broke this down, Donnie and I, on Tuesday. Falcons, bad on the road, historically, potent offense, healthy defense. We've got rumors coming about Julio Jones, whether or not he's going to be there. Vikings have a chip on their shoulder after that loss. After not making the playoffs last season when we thought that he would. Dalvin Cook, if healthy, will run amok. We've just heard that Diggs is dealing with a hamstring strain. May not even be there week 1. We know that Anthony Barr is a beast. I am not making a move week 1, but I do have Falcons to win the division, Falcons to win the conference, and Falcons to win the Super Bowl, and I'm not waiting till week 2 because I don't think this is a guaranteed win for the Vikings. And if Diggs is not in the lineup, maybe I do take a crack at Atlanta +4. That's what we're dealing with now. It had gone down to 3.5. Now it's back to 4. This total at 47.5 at Pinnacle, but 47 everywhere else. Let's start with you, Donnie RightSide. Are you making a move with Atlanta, Minnesota?
It's kind of interesting. No, I won't have a wager in this game. I do like Minnesota, and I think Minnesota actually got a nice little bump on the season with the Bears going down last night. I think that factors in and helps them out a little bit more than obviously the Bears winning. But looking at this game overall, I agree with the -4. I think that -4 is appropriate from where it is. But you're right. If Stephon Diggs is not going to play in this football game, that really limits what you're going to be able to do from an offensive perspective from the Minnesota Vikings. He's the guy that takes the top off. He loosens up everything underneath. If he's going to be out of this football game, that's going to hurt him, certainly.
That is going to hurt them, and I'm very comfortable. Donnie and I talked about whether I should wait till next week to make this move, and I don't think this is a slam dunk for the Vikings. Here we go, Whale Capper. Vikings, Falcons. What's your move?
So I made a play on the over 47 here. I see this as a track meet. I'm expecting a healthy Diggs. I'm expecting Julio Jones' contract situation will be resolved relatively efficiently here. And I see that you have two relatively high-powered pass offenses on a fast field. This sets up great for an over. And, we know that the Vikings want to try to run, but they don't have the offensive line. They don't have the running back, in my opinion. I don't think either of these teams, if they get a lead, can sock away this game with their running attack, which I think sets up the chance for a comeback, sets up a chance for, a high-scoring back-and-forth game. 47 was an easy over here for me.
47 was an easy over. I feel like this Viking secondary underperformed last year and is now being overlooked because of it. This is a very strong secondary, and they have Anthony Barr coming back. What do you expect from this Vikings defense throughout the season, Whale Capper?
I think we saw the best of them 2 years ago, to be honest with you. They were amazing 2 years ago because they were incredible at stopping teams on third down. That's not something that we see that's sustainable year over year. Now, they may come back and be the best team in the NFC North. It certainly seems like both the Packers and the Bears are worse than we thought after what we saw in that game last night. So, they may be the favorites at this point in my mind to win the NFC North. But, I don't think that this pass defense is good enough to stop the air attack, with Matt Ryan being one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL and having a diverse set of healthy weapons.
Donnie, RightSide, hearing that Whale Capper's on the over. This was a move we talked about a lot.
Yep,
I have 2 question marks beside the over right now. I still have the asterisk, over, and 2 question marks, but I've not made a move. Does hearing Whale Capper on the over, does that make you want to make a move, or does that lean you closer to making a move?
No, we liked it on Tuesday when we talked about it, because when you take a look at this game, you got, it's going to be perfect conditions, right? You got 2 dome teams squaring off, and let's just say Diggs is playing. We don't know if he's healthy. Let's just say he starts this football game. It's the same synopsis that we used on Tuesday. Both wide receiving cores explosive, right? Both teams have explosive running backs. They're going to be throwing the football all over the lot. This is the NFL. You get some penalties. I get it. And maybe they haven't played a lot in the preseason. I definitely like the over way more than it would be taking an under in this game. No question.
We have our first official play from the Whale Capper. Minnesota over 47 at minus 105 is where he got that. Over 47 at minus 105. It's only Pinnacle at 47.5. Let's move on to my first official play of the season, and that's Redskins Eagles under 45 at minus 105. I also think this is too high a spread for a week 1 divisional game. I listened to the show, or I had Teddy Covers on my show this morning. Teddy Covers is on the Eagles to cover this spread, but he did get it at 8.5. Redskins have a better defense than they're getting credit for. Williams is a huge loss. He could be back in a couple weeks. I like the under. Keenan's not going to light up this defense. Wentz has been hurt for 2 years. I'm expecting a slow start. My first spot on the season, Redskins Eagles under 45. Donnie, RightSide.
Yeah, hey, look, I probably agree with you in this situation. The one guy that's usually continually beat the Eagles and gave him a tough time is Jordan Reed. Now we're seeing that he hasn't been cleared for contact heading into this week. So where are the points coming from if you're looking from a Washington perspective? Case Keenum's going to be at the under quarterback position. You have an offensive line that's already questionable as it is, and then you have one of the best left tackles in football not even showing up to training camp. You have questionable wide receivers with the amount of talent they have. So is this going to be, hey, let's line up in double tight and run Adrian Peterson 35 times in this football game? Maybe that's their only success and maybe chance at actually winning for the Washington Redskins. We see that line crop up now, minus 10s, almost going to 10.5 with the minus 115s. The Eagles are clearly the superior football team. Yes, I understand that the Washington Redskins, they know the Eagles, and the Eagles know the Washington Redskins. That does play into it, and maybe even get a little bit scared last night saying, wait a second. There's a lot of similarities last night. The Philadelphia Eagles offense hasn't played together in the preseason. Maybe they just come out sloppy, but that's not the way to cap a game saying, well, if the Eagles come out sloppy, the Redskins can hang around. Do you think for over a full 4 quarters that offense is going to be able to score for the Washington Redskins? I don't think so. I like your look, Jimmy, on that under.
I like it too. Joe Yurkovich says smart play, Jimmy. Robert Reimer says good play, Jimmy. I got it at 45.5. It's very hard to have a lot of confidence in week 1, but it does help hearing you 3 say that. Whale Capper, are you going to pop the balloon here, or you think this under 45 is a look?
No, I'm staying away from this game. I need to see, what exactly we have with this Redskins team before I put any action down on them. And I am worried about the Eagles have a talented roster, but we haven't seen them play. We don't know how this offense is going to look week 1. I put them in some survivor pools. If you can find a 9.5 out there still, I think it makes sense as a 7-point teaser leg if you can get it across 3. Otherwise, I'm staying away from this game.
I can't wait to watch it because more official picks I have is the Eagles over 9.5 wins. Now, that was heavily juiced. Minus 170, which I don't like saying out loud. But I'm on the over 9.5 wins. I am also on the division at plus 100. I'm on the conference at plus 800. And I'm on the Super Bowl at plus 1,400. Though my future bets involve the Falcons and the Eagles and the Chiefs. That's where I am right now. Let's move on to Bills at Jets. Jets open at -3. It was -3 on Tuesday, -2.5 now, almost across the board. Bovada's still hanging at 3. This total opened up at 41, depending on where you shop. depending on where you shop. Because if I go down to Pinnacle, it opened up at 38.5 at Pinnacle, opened up at 41 at Bet Online. So again, you need to keep sportsbookreview.com odds page up at all times. And you got to switch. You got to decide which book you want for your opening lines, because that can change your direction of your capping depending on what book you use. Bills at Jets. I'm very excited about this. I did understand why people like the Jets at -3, but I like the Bills. I like McDermott. I think Ed Oliver is going to be eating. I think Tremaine Edmonds is going to be an absolute beast. I think that Bell will not be as good as he was in Pittsburgh. He'll find this offensive line in New York not as strong as the one that he had in Pittsburgh, when he can pause and he can wait for holes to open up. I don't know if they're going to be opening up. And Whale Capper, I did put $200 on the under 1,125.5 yards that we spoke about weeks ago. I did pull the trigger on that. Donnie, RightSide, Bills, Jets.
Yep, we do have one of my official plays, and to keep it the same each and every week, every Wednesday, I'm going to use the Pick Six contest, so it's almost a mirror. So whatever you see on the show here in the Audible, you go, hey, well, wait a second, you said this line. It's going to be identical to what I have in the Pick Six contest, so be very transparent. Already lost with the Chicago Bears -3, so you can probably see that right now. But I do have an official play on the New York Jets, and locking these games in on Wednesdays, like sometimes you want to wait out and think you can get a better line, but I just think it's easier for transparency to keep everything the same. I'll lock everything in Wednesday. I got -3, -105 with the New York Jets. I think the Jets win and cover in this football game. I've said it for the past week and a half. I just think for this, if this game was in Buffalo, maybe different. If we're talking about this game being in November as opposed to early September, it might be different. But right now, I'm getting the better offensive head coach. I'm getting the better game planner. I'm getting the better quarterback. I'm getting the better wide receivers. I'm getting the better running back. Maybe the defense is going to be a little bit better and up to the challenge on Buffalo. But I'm going to lean on Sam Darnold in this game as opposed to Josh Allen. I just think the Jets are the better football team in this situation. They'll get the win and cover here week 1.
Get the win and cover. We all are locked in with first official plays on the board. Donnie with the Jets -3. Whale Capper, you making a move on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the over again. So this is my second over on the card here. Too low for me for two teams that I think match up pretty well, strength versus strength, weakness versus weakness. I think they're going to be able to go score for each other. I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game. I lean Jets with Donnie. I think that's a great look. I like that price point. I think the Jets do pull it out here. But these are two teams that I think have a significant potential from an offensive standpoint to really surprise some people this year. Yeah, so over 40.5, when you're going to give me that low of a total and I'm capping both teams able to get to 20 points, then I'm in.
We have Whale Capper, second official play. New York Jets over 40.5, -104. We have graphics being made as we speak with all of our records on one graphic. We also are going to have Donnie RightSide's plays, Whale Capper's plays, and my plays on individual graphics that will all be coming out throughout this show. That'll all be ready to go next week. Also, Donnie's talking about these are the picks from his contest page. We need you guys in this contest. $50,000 Pick Six football contest. Whale Capper's in it. I'm in it. All these guys. Teddy Covers is in it. You're going to see all of us talking about it, bragging about it, being ashamed about it. Whatever it is, we will be talking about it. And looks like my Google account just came off. Okay, so let me, it's going to take me a second to put it in there. Sorry, I will have to fix that right now. But there we go. New York Jets over 40.5 from our very own Whale Capper. There's his second play on the card. Let's move on to the next game on the docket. That's Ravens at Dolphins. And Whale Capper pushed me in the right direction when we were in Miami together. I got 4.5. Now it's at 6.5. The Dolphins are a mess. Tunsil deal. We talked about it on Tuesday. 2 first-round picks. I like the Texans. I think they're making the playoffs. That's all. I don't have any overs. I'm not making it up, but I think that they're going to be much better this year, and that Tunsil is a premier left tackle, and he can run all day. And Jackson can run all day, and Jackson now is going to have the best protection that he's ever had in the NFL. And there's talk. I mean, I was talking today about how much I believe in. Let me get to here. I'm sorry, talking about Ravens. Sorry, I got too caught up with the Texans. But back to the Texans. I'm so in on Deshaun Watson. Sorry, because we got I'm trying to move fast here. We got Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. I'm so in on Deshaun Watson. I think that without luck in the league right now, if you want to start picking quarterbacks that are better than Deshaun Watson, you're going to run out of them pretty fast. He's certainly in the top 10 to me, and if you want to talk about black quarterbacks not getting as much respect as white quarterbacks, I think that's happening here. I think Deshaun Watson's absolutely spectacular, and we will see that this year. Sorry, let's go back to Ravens and Dolphins. I got put on the Ravens when we were in Miami. I got him at 4.5. That's an official play on this show. I did take him in the contest at 6.5, but I have him at 4.5. I'm not taking Ravens futures. I watched Whale Capper sort of come around and start believing in the Ravens. I'm not. I got the under 5.5 wins on the Dolphins. I'm worried about Jackson making throws, not sliding in preseason. I'm just worried about them. And I feel like the Chargers sort of put the blueprint out on how to stop them. Ravens, Dolphins, I'm back in the Ravens here after the mess that the Dolphins are in. Donnie, right side, what's your move on this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty comfortable up till 7. I mean, especially when you're taking a look at the Baltimore Ravens now sitting at 6.5 pretty much across the board. Do I think it's going to get to 7? That's pretty hard, especially opening weekend. And let's take a look, 91, 92, extreme humidity down in South Florida for this football game. And it's not a night game. It's not, air conditioned. It's 1 o'clock. That game is going to be hot and steamy. But again, we're talking about a Baltimore Ravens team that's built for this. They're built to say, you know what? We're more physical than you are. We're going to beat you into the ground. And it still gets back to the same attitude that we have. If you're going to the offensive line stunk already for the Dolphins. Now they lose Tunsil. It really stinks right now. Now you're going to lean on an old man back there with a beard who has shown nothing in the preseason. He can move the football. And you took away one of his best deep threats in Kenny Stills. When you look at this, the self-preservation mode that the Dolphins are going to go through this season, where players are saying, I'm not laying it on the line. I'm not risking injury for myself so we can get to that 3rd win in late December. I'm worried about next year already. When you wave the white flag in that front office versus a team that, if you're going to ask one team coming out of the gates in the NFL from the preseason who you think they're going to be ready to play football, it's the Baltimore Ravens. Want nothing to do with the Dolphins this year whatsoever.
Yes. And I think I'm going to be eating. That was a 2-unit play on both the Bills over 6.5 and the Dolphins under 5.5. I'm very excited about where I sit. And I notice, Whale Capper, that this isn't on your card.
Yeah, man. I should have listened to my own advice and gotten in at 4.5 with you, but I did not. And then they make the Tunsil trade, and the thing drifts out to 6.5. And, we were there in that stadium. It's hot. Like, those players in the visiting team will be sitting in the sun. There's not really a lot of incentive here for the Ravens to kind of come out with a statement win and really bury these guys. They just kind of have to get in and out of town, stay healthy, get a win, start moving in the right direction here. So 6.5 is an awful lot to lay on the road week 1 of the season when everybody's fired up. So I'm going to stay clear of this one, but I do love the Ravens still this season. I think they're by far the much better team. I'm going to be looking out for if they go up and go 21-0 into halftime or something like that, which I think is reasonable, then I'll probably look for an opportunity to back the Dolphins in the second half as the Ravens try to kind of get their starters some rest and kind of keep them fresh. Because, the Ravens got a home game next week against the Cardinals. This is a perfect opportunity to start out 2-0, get a little momentum, you get some space in the AFC North, and Ravens this season are one of my favorite looks.
I've watched you come around on them. And speaking about coming around, I am starting to believe, and maybe it's just the wrong juice, but I'm starting to believe that the Steelers are being disrespected and completely overlooked. And that was not my feeling earlier in the year, and that's how I'm starting to feel right now. There we have Ravens at Dolphins. Let's move over to Chiefs at Jaguars. Chiefs at Jaguars. This is a game that I'm still off of it because I just feel strange that it's gone down to 3 now. It just feels like this is the Carolina Panthers. I know they've moved down to 1.5, but the Panthers at home and the Jaguars at home is that perfect week 1 storm where you don't want to be full of these road favorites in week 1 or you're going to lose. And this is a mistake that I've been making every year. I would be all over the Chiefs week 1, and I'm just hesitant to make a move. I would like to make a move. Friends of mine are making big moves on the Chiefs here. This total opened up at 51.5, went up to 52.5, back down to 51.5. Tyreek just signed a 3-year, $54 million contract. He's uncoverable. Kelsey, McCole, Hardman are beasts. I think Damian Williams is going to do a fine job. And then Jags defense, Allen, Campbell, Jack. It's very strong on paper. Still very strong on paper. I've not made a move on it yet. Donnie, are you making a move on it?
I mean, it's not going to be one of my official plays because this is the game that I usually like to slow play the first 2 weeks and really get after in week 3. I try to, hopefully I can hover around that 500 level for the next 2 weeks and then really get some good information and move forward because to be quite honest with you, I'll be square in this game. I'm scratching my head right now. Every single thing I'm reading out of the Jacksonville Jaguars from the preseason doesn't make sense for opening day. Now Robinson suffers non-contact knee injury on the front line. Now you're going to be able to get a pass rush on Nick Foles, who mysteriously has an abdominal injury, which is, if you're a quarterback or you're a pitcher, an abdominal injury, that's throwing the football. That's getting into your motion. And we're taking a look at even before when these lines first came out, you're anticipating Tyreek Hill, being out. Now all that's washed away. Tyreek Hill even gets a new deal. Kansas City's coming to this game loaded for bear. It opens up at 5, 4.5. Now you're seeing 3s on the board. Are we just going back and saying, well, remember last year with Blake Bortles and Jacksonville really beat up on the New England Patriots? That's going to happen in this football game. If that's what you're using, okay. But for the life of me, I can't figure this one out. Kansas City is so far superior to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know. I'm baffled.
Robert Weimer says under. Tom Marino says I'd lean under. Sportskeg says drilled the Chiefs under 52. Donnie, are you not going to make a move on the total either?
No, I'm going to stay away from this game because this is one that just doesn't make sense to me because I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars will be better on offense just because you have to be better without Blake Bortles at quarterback. But this is the consequential sit back, scratch my head, and say one of those first quarter, I told you the Chiefs. Ooh, that's why I didn't bet it because the Jags are back in it. And then, all the way through the game. That's just what it feels like to me.
Anil Frank says Jags defense with a solid quarterback at home in the Florida Sun. They will cover. Whale Capper, I mean, do we have every right to be concerned that they're only 3-point favorites?
This has every makings to me of the game that the Sharps are kind of lining up with the home team. They feel like they have an advantage with the defense, and then Andy Reid with extra time to prep, and the best quarterback in the league comes out and just buries this team. This was one I had to stay away from because, as I lined it numerically, I'm coming around three or 4 points. It's kind of a coin flip. Line's at 3.5. It's crossed off the game. And I think in general, there's some sentiment people are itching to, be on the right side of Chiefs regression because what they did last year offensively was something we've never seen before in the history of the NFL. Therefore, the likelihood they repeat that is not good, right? But at the same time, the weapons are all intact. This is an absolutely dynamic unit from top to bottom. And granted, you said in the setup here, no one can cover Tyreek Hill. Yeah, that's true. Except for maybe Jalen Ramsey. I mean, the guy might be the best cover corner in the NFL, and he's going to be matched up one-on-one with him all day long, which is going to make it a little bit tougher through the passing game for the Chiefs. Maybe that's the edge people are trying to hit here, but this looks like a fool's errand to try to handicap this one and expect you can find an edge, especially if you're running to the window and you're going to pay to see someone stop the Chiefs offense, it's good luck with that because this is a dynamic unit. And, the Jaguars may look amazing, and may look like 2 years ago's Jaguars. But, I still need to see them do it before I'm really willing to back them with my money.
Wow. Yeah, this is you put it very succinctly there that it's that spot, home dog week 1, that the Sharps are going to be all over. But what if the Chiefs smash here? And then Donnie said it right, too, when he's like, you'll be watching first quarter and be like, man, I told you. I like the Chiefs early. I think Foles might need some time here. Okay, how about this? Whale Capper, do you have any faith in the Chiefs defense?
Over the course of the season, I do not. But they match up pretty well with this Jaguars team. The Jaguars team is not a very deep team. In terms of their offensive line, they're dealing with some injuries, and their skill position players are terrible. And if you're going to attack the Chiefs, and really the Patriots in the first half of last year's AFC title game kind of gave us the blueprint for how you keep the Chiefs from scoring points. It's not by playing amazing defense. It's by keeping the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands. It's let him get into rhythm. Don't give him opportunities to read your defense and pick them apart. Don't give them enough home run shots to Tyreek Hill that they finally hit one, right? And I don't know that Leonard Fournette and this offensive line has the goods to come and play ball control and keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands. He's going to get his opportunities. He's going to get his shots. I don't see a good matchup for Travis Kelce on this team. I think Mecole Hardman, if they're focusing on Tyreek Hill, and AJ Bouye and Ramsey are, dedicated to keeping him from, hitting a home run, Mecole Hardman could hit him with a home run from the other side. This is an absolutely stacked offense. And in today's day and age, especially in the regular season, that's what wins out in these games. And I need to see it to believe it, that they can be held under 28 points. Because we saw one game all season last year where they went under 28 points, I feel like, or maybe it was two. Either way, 26, 27 points were the lowest they scored all year. And those were games where they had a comfortable lead from wire to wire. They never really had to press. And, I don't know that there is an easy and obvious way to stop this team unless it's the Patriots in the playoffs. And, maybe not even then.
Jeff Merlo says it may be square, but Jags, come on. He says, we will never see -3 for the Chiefs again this year. If you don't take the Chiefs now, we will never see it again. And here is the link for the contest, $50,000 contest that we are all in. There is the link. Jump in. Let's move over to Titans-Browns. Titans-Browns spreads and totals here at sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page. Titans open up as 5.5-point dogs. They're still there. This total opens up at 45.5, and it's now at 45 at Pinnacle and BetOnline, but 45.5 everywhere else. The Browns are under so much pressure. Most hyped team in this offseason. I don't know what we're going to get from Freddie Kitchens. A lot of talent that hasn't really played in big NFL games. We need to see a lot. There's tons of question marks from the Titans as well. I do think they have an underrated defense, but can Delaney Walker come back from the injury? Is Corey Davis actually going to step up? Can Vrabel coach in big games? This is a stay away, a watch and learn for me. Donnie, right side, Tennessee, Cleveland.
Yeah, stay away from me as well, but this is really going to be interesting to line up because what's the whole MO that we saw in the offseason? People can't get enough, including sports bettors, of the Cleveland Browns. Put them on primetime, bet them. This is coming from a team that's not used to any success whatsoever since they got reincarnated back into the Browns. The single worst organization in professional sports that finally won a couple games. All of a sudden, we're ready to win Super Bowls and win divisions out of nowhere with a rookie head football coach in Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Now, having said that, they do have some talent. Are we going to get OBJ on opening day? Oh, I can't really run fast. My hip hurts. We haven't seen much out of it. Do I think they're the more talented team than the Titans? Absolutely. But the Titans can do some things that can slow down the offense of the Cleveland Browns. And also, getting back to the original point of the offseason, we can't get enough of it. Oh, my God, can't wait to see those Browns. Why'd that line open up at 5.5, Jimmy, and still sits at 5.5 today?
It's a tough one, and we saw the under 9.5 get hammered by the Titans Browns. Speaking of that, let me pull this up for you guys. You know what? Let me pull this up for you guys right now. Something that I found extremely interesting. We had Dave Mason on our show. Dave Mason on Betting with the Bag. And Dave Mason told us this. You know what? I'll pull it up. I'll break down exactly what BetOnline's worried about and which teams they're worried about. I'll bring it up right after we hear how Whale Capper feels about this spot. Browns, Titans. Whale Capper, are you making a move?
Yes, I am. And in fact, this is in the SBR contest where they are legitimately giving away 50 grand. This is not a joke. Sign up for the contest to win 50 grand. This is my 2x play on the week. I can't get enough action down on the under in this game. I like the first half under. I like the full game under. I like the Tennessee Titans team total under. All of this is on the back of, I feel like the Browns defense is being completely slept on. This unit looks poor metrically when you look at last year and you kind of break down their last couple years where they were running Greg Williams' scheme that did not fit the pieces on this defense at all. Now you bring in a scheme that they're going to be a little bit more aggressive on the pass rush. You're going to unleash Myles Garrett and some of these absolutely dynamic weapons on the pass rush for the Cleveland Browns. And you're going up against a Titans team that has their top offensive lineman on suspension, a Mariota who cannot throw precision passes right now because he's dealing with, lingering stinger that has, created, no feeling in his fingers. Yet this guy is going to pick you apart with those weapons in an Arthur Smith offensive system, on the road, in the wind, against what I feel is the top half of the league defense. Like, this is an absolutely perfect setup for the Browns, and the Browns holding the Titans down to 10 points. This is a great spot for them to show out on defense. I think Baker Mayfield will eventually find his form over the course of the season, but he's going up against a no-slouch defense in the Titans. The Titans are very, very good in their pass defense. They're going to give him hell. They're going to pick him off. This is set up for kind of the Browns control the game from whistle to whistle, but they make some key turnovers. They make some key mistakes. Maybe they cover. They probably win. But if you're giving me 45.5 to bet under, I am on that all day long. This is my favorite total on the board, and it's the only under I'm betting this week. But it's the one I hit for 2 times, double tapped on the SBR $50,000 contest.
Wow, there it is, a 2-unit play from Whale Capper in the contest. I have thrown up some asterisks right there, some asterisks right there. This is Bet Online from Bet Online. Super Bowl futures at Bet Online. The top bet counts: number 1, Chiefs; number 2, Saints; number 3, Pats; number 4, Browns; number 5, Bears. Liabilities, the biggest liabilities in order for Bet Online, Super Bowl futures: Cowboys, number 1, Chiefs, number 2, Bears, number 3, Panthers, number 4, Patriots, number 5, Packers, number 6. Season win totals, top 5 bet counts: Bills over, Dolphins under, Raiders under, Redskins under, Browns under. Top 5 liabilities for the house: Ravens over, Titans under, Panthers over, Dolphins under, and Colts over. Although the Colts over is confusing because it started getting hammered when it went down to 6.5. There you go. I can't wait to talk about this game because here we go. Here is the spot. I am on the opposite of Whale Capper, which does not bode well for me. But Flash down here is also on this same play, and that's the under in Rams Panthers. They say Gurley's good to go. I expect a lot of running. We have Goff, who just signed this massive contract. We'll see how he looks coming out of the gate. One thing we know about the Rams is their defense is going to be spectacular. They did lose Middleton, an underrated departure, but Fowler, Weddle can still play ball, and Errol Donald might be the best to ever play. Cam Newton, question mark. Walking boot preseason, shoulder. I like Moore, Olsen, McCaffrey's a stud. This is an old Panthers defense that I think will be good early. I'm on the under. The official play, I've bet it. I'm on the under in Rams, Panthers, under 50 at minus 105. Donnie, RightSide, you making a move on this game?
I am making a move on this game, and I'm going to be on the severe public side here, and hear me out on this one. And this Monday, just to preface this, I can't wait for Monday to go back and see where I was right and wrong on these plays, to see exactly how they played out, because this one to me is baffling. Because if I want the Los Angeles Rams, okay, I hear it all out here. You know, coming off the Super Bowl, you're going to have a little bit of a step back and the hangover. There's some validity to that, and there's also some validity from a West Coast team coming east and playing at 1 o'clock. I hear that. But I've wasted so much money last year on the Carolina Panthers that I'm expecting Cam Newton to take the next step forward, being healthy. I'm expecting Cam Newton to all of a sudden have this magically reappeared new throwing motion that's going to work game 1, even though he hasn't any work on it in game situations other than like a half of a quarter where he got hurt against the New England Patriots. I'm supposed to be ready that his healed foot sprain is 100% ready to go because he's not on the medical charts. If I remember last year during the season, Ron Rivera coming out all season long on the back end. What's a stupid report? There's nothing wrong with Cam Newton's shoulder. He couldn't throw it 10 yards, culminating in that Saints game, which I believe was like a 12-9 affair, where Cam Newton threw for 130 yards, only had 16 completions in an NFL football game, and 8 were to running backs. So I'm supposed to believe that Cam Newton is healthy, primed, and ready to go on this football team. You know what I do know? If I can revert back to last year in September, and I can get the Todd Gurley that's not going to be on a restricted list, which they're saying he's not, that I can get Sean McVay, the play caller, that I can get Jared Goff, the quarterback, that I can get the wide receiver core from the Los Angeles Rams of Cooks, of Woods, and Cooper Kupp healthy in this football game. Give me that attack over, boy, I hope Cam Newton wants to play in this football game any day of the week.
Yeah, I get it. Rams, though, open at minus 2.5. You could have got them even at minus 3 if you were picking a poor time. They're now down to minus 1 at Pinnacle. And here we go, Whale Capper. Scare the shit out of me with your over.
This is definitely the weakest play on my card. I don't know if that makes you feel better. This is a game that looks shot for shot to me. The Rams offense scores quickly. They score in chunks. They don't run a high-paced offense, but they do gain yards in chunks. I don't have a ton of love or respect for either pass defense here. I see that, both teams have manifest good defense in the past, but they're ball hawking units. Like the Carolina Panthers pass defense can be passed on, except when they create turnovers and pick you off, create short fields, create pick six opportunities. And then similarly with the Rams, Darnold and Fowler, Aaron Donald and Fowler, they're going to get after Cam Newton. They're going to sack him. He's going to get strip sacked. They could create some fumble opportunities. And the defenses here aren't like, they're not going to stone you. They're not forcing punts. Like, they are legitimately trying to disrupt your offense, trying to create turnovers. And I see a lot of possibilities for success in the passing game for these two teams. And I get the public movement. I say public. I get the market movement in the direction of the Panthers, because there's a lot of reasons to back them. It's maybe the most kind of common narrative that you hear recycled amongst the talking heads. Not like your especially solid NFL handicappers that are participating in the Audible or participating in this chat, but people love to fade the Super Bowl losing team in week 1 of the following season. Like, they assume that that's some magical spot that they underperform. And you look at the Rams; they haven't done a lot of showing us who they are this year in the preseason. Everybody's been benched. We really don't know what to expect. And so, I think that has been most of the momentum that has been supporting the Panthers here. And I don't totally get it. I think I like Donnie's look. I like his breakdown. There's probably been way too much bet on the Panthers at this point, and there's line value manifest on the Rams. But I'm on over 50.5, looking for each team to be capable to get into the 28-point range, and this game to be decided in the final moments.
Wow. Jake Bell says this is an under all the way. That makes me feel more comfortable. Mohamed Joma says this game screams 6-3 at the half. Joseph Gomez says take the under. If you believe the line of 3, both solid defenses, Aaron Donald will roll Cam. We shall see. Kyle Jack says Panthers team total unders all day, but won't risk a full game under in case Rams do light it up. We shall see. Going heads up against the Whale Capper, not something that I would like to be doing. And, trying to get ahead of some market moves may cost you if then you're on the other side of someone like Whale Capper. Maybe I should wait till after the Friday show. We shall see. We'll see what the record looks like after, week 1. If it's okay.
Jimmy, you're not going to believe this. I get almost half my plays wrong. This is the way this goes.
No, I know, but what happened for me last year was that my ROI and my unit size started climbing very quickly as soon as when you guys were on one side and I was on the other, just to let it go. So I'm just saying, just to let it go was something that was really working for me. But I feel you. Let's move on to Bengals.
If I could scratch one play, if I could have one take back, it would probably be this one.
Wow. Okay. All right. Oh, man, I can't wait for this weekend. Let's move to Bengals Seahawks. I am on my next official play. That's the under 44. I see Seattle being, as we all know, extremely good at home. I do not think Cincy without A.J. Green can do anything. It's just going to be Mixon running behind a bad O-line. I also think that the Seahawks running game should be strong. So I think there's no reason. I know that you can't put it past Carroll to put a beating on somebody, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think this can be we've given out scores for this game like a 25-9 or something like that in that range. But I know people on the Bengals at plus 9.5, and I even know 2 cappers on the Bengals money line. So, I don't think this is a slam. There's no slam dunks in week 1, but I'm on the under 44 at minus 103. Donnie, RightSide, Bengals, Seahawks.
Yeah, this game, if we look at all the games from the entire week, this is the one I'm least, probable of watching or even caring about at this point. And it's interesting. All right, if we have money line and you just play it into the first week, I really don't see how the Cincinnati Bengals go into Seattle and win this football game over Russell Wilson when he's healthy. But, hey, look, that's what week 1 is for, and that's why, the books make a lot of money in September. But going down the line, looking, minus 10, maybe a little bit too much. 9.5, a little bit more palatable. If we're taking a look at the total, 43, 44, 45 in that range, it does seem about right. I can't put my money on Cincinnati. So, if we're going to opinion, I don't have this as a play, but it would be Seattle or nothing. Maybe if you guys are big on teasers out there, teasing them down and maybe teasing the total higher. I just look at it. Russell Wilson's going to make too many plays when he shouldn't make plays in this for them to lose this football game. It's Seattle or nobody here for me.
Seattle or nobody. Kyle Jack says the Seattle Pigeons are going to roll. Eddie Euler says the Bungles were 2-6 on the road last season. Seattle was 6-2 at home. Sports Cake says I would rather eat glass than watch this game. That's a little harsh there. Teddy B says the over is the only play on this Cincy game. And Mama Jones says Seattle wins, not touching the spread. And Jake Bell, Pete Carroll, 14-0 in September. Tease Seattle. 40-ounce beer belly dude says Seattle's covered just one of its last 7 games in September. Whale Capper, I'm on the under 44 in this spot. Bengals, Seahawks, what do you think?
To our buddy Sports Keg, drink beers, don't eat glass on this one. This is a look for me on the dog. I'm looking for Bengals plus 8.5 here. This is a spot where I feel like, traditionally we see Seattle plays well at home. A lot of those games are in prime time, though, and a lot of those games are where the crowd is whipped up. It's where the team is motivated. Sometimes, they feel disrespected. Well, guess what? A 10-point line on the opener, and for most of the week, most of the lines out there hanging 10 points, that doesn't really, get a team fired up. And when you look at specifically matchups here, and I'm looking at the Bengals and what they're able to do offensively in this game, I have to wonder if there's a lot we don't know and that advantage of surprise could play into them being competitive in this spot. I don't think that the Seahawks defense is as good as people are making them out to be, especially in the passing game. I think that, Andy Dalton is healthy. He has a complement of weapons outside of A.J. Green who won't be out there. I still like Boyd. I still like Ross. I still like his two options at tight end. I like his options as running backs in the receiving game. I think that Cincinnati's going to be competitive. They're going to be able to score points. They're going to be able to be a little wily here. And you look at the knock on Andy Dalton. It's that once teams see what he's doing, once they see how he's succeeding, then they're able to kind of mix it up on him. And the second time you see him, you completely squash the guy. Well, we have no idea what to expect here. In terms of what they're rolling out, what their looks are going to be. And I think they could catch the Seattle napping here a little bit. I think Seattle's still a fine look in a teaser leg if you can tease them past 3. I think Seattle's a fine play in the survivor pool. I think they get the win. But 8.5 points is too high for a team that I think is being a little bit overlooked in terms of how good they are in the Cincinnati Bengals. People just kind of look at this squad and they're the easy, clear, obvious 4th best team in their division. Therefore, people think they're a bottom feeder. But they're going to give some teams some hell this year. Interesting look. Bengals plus 8.5 is on Whale Capper's card. And if you had waited, you could get better. That 10 has popped up at Pinnacle, only at Pinnacle. And Pinnacle just dropped their total down to 44. All the other books at 44.5 with BetOnline at 45. But Pinnacle has dropped it down to 44. Here we go. Here's the next official play on my card. Talked with Donnie a little bit about it this morning. I'm on the Colts plus 6.5. Colts plus 6.5 at minus 105 at the Chargers. We know the Chargers are dealing with injuries, and none bigger than Derwin. They still have a very good defense. I don't think Gordon's going to be missed as much as we think, but the Colts still have a good football team. And when I talked with Donnie about this, Donnie said that he expects the loss of Luck to show up more in about a month, to show up more in about 6 weeks. But right off the top, you have every reason to get pumped up. There's Jacoby Brissett. He just got a contract extension. He wants to be there. He wants to fight for you. And my concern is that Luck got the ball out so quickly, so unbelievably quickly last year. And I don't know any quarterback in the league that could probably get it out as fast as he was doing it last year. And Brissett won't be able to do that. This offensive line won't look so dominant. But I'm on Colts plus 6.5. Official play. Bet it. Donnie RightSide. Colts Chargers.
Yeah, I like where your head's at, Jimmy, to be honest with you. When you're trying to take a look at it, forget about the X's and O's of the football team. You want to see what the emotion's going to be coming into the first game of the season, because as you stated, I think there's a lot of validity to this, because when you're trying to rally the troops, everybody still thinks they can win week 1. This isn't a Miami Dolphins situation where they're running up a red flag here. This is a team that says, all right, let's take the whole skeleton of the football team. We're really good on both offensive and defensive lines. We have some dogs on defense that can make some plays and tackle. We have a pretty good offense that we can build off of. And yes, the Chargers are a more talented team overall, but you're not going to play play the Chargers in a 70,000 seat stadium where everybody's loaded for bear and gunning against you. You'll probably have just as many fans in that stadium as the Chargers actually have. And I think for rallying purposes where they still think they can win, Jamie's like the quarterback that they're going to run out there with Brissett. He's a pretty good quarterback. This isn't like his first start and, oh my goodness, we have a third-round rookie. Let's see how he does. He's going to be in this game plan. He's not surprised. He's not coming in the second quarter where he wasn't prepared as the starting quarterback like he's been for the entire offseason. And I think he's going to play well weeks 1, weeks 2, week 3, and then it starts to catch up where you say, you know what? I can't make all these throws. I can't make all these plays like Andrew Luck used to be. But for week 1, Jimmy, 6.5, I think it's a little bit of an inflated line. I like where you're going with the Colts.
I like it too. And I love seeing my guy Teddy B saying biggest upset of the week, Colts money line. Says take that plus 200. I filled with fear at all times in every aspect of life, and I don't have the giant balls of our Teddy B. Whale Capper, I'm on the Colts plus 6.5. What do you think?
Ooh, man, this one is, the Colts are the right side at the right number in this one, and 6.5 may be it. There's too much uncertainty, though, for me to get involved. Jacoby Brissett may be good, but he may be terrible. The Colts may be motivated. They may rally and say, no one believes in us. Everyone thinks we're going to stink now. We're going to go out there and play hard. Or they might be like, we got left at the altar by our leader and our quarterback. It's tough to get motivated. Like, I really can't tell what Colts team we're going to see. But they have a roster that should be able to compete with this, this Chargers team. The Chargers are a bummer too. Like, I really thought there was a decent chance that this game was going to be meaningful, impactful, tell us something about the potential playoff picture come January. And it's just a bummer the way that this is shaken out. And so I'm going to be skipping this one. I'm not going to be watching other than as a fact-finding mission to get a sense of what the motivations are like on this Colts team and what Jacoby Brissett's limitations and capabilities are with this offense.
Oh, I am very excited. I love this stuff. Sure, I didn't want Luck to retire at 29. But I love this stuff. I love to see what Brissett's going to do. I think we're getting a bargain on the Colts. I think they're a very good football team. I think the Chargers are a good football team too, but without Derwin, we still know their edge rushers are spectacular without Derwin. But I'm very, very, very excited. Here we go. Moving on to Niners, Buccaneers. Now, we talked about it, and I didn't even look it up, the stat, but we know the Niners didn't win a road game last year. And I don't think they've won a road game in September and October since 2014. Do you want to back the Niners on the road? I would like to, but I'm not going to. And Bosa and Ford, 100% full go. They're going to be coming off the edge. We saw what the 49ers had after the injuries depleted their front seven last year. Is a whole new front seven. Warner, Buckner, ready to go. And Breda, Debo Samuel. Breda looks like a monster right now. He's going to be getting all the touches. We know that Winston's bad at reads. And I guess truly it comes down to me being scared of Arians and Todd Bowles back together again. I think it comes down to that. But the Bucs defense doesn't look good. Niners, Buccaneers. We have another official play coming from our own Donnie RightSide. Niners, Bucs.
Yeah, actually, the side's kind of tough. You're right, because it's a kind of a tough spot for them to come in, but I'm going to factor in and take a little bit look more in the total. Wednesday when I locked in, it was 49.5, seeing across SBRodds.com anywhere from that 50.5, 50 to 51, depending on where you shop. And the reason being in this football game is I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to crank up a running game. And that's good if you're looking for the total, because the front seven that you're looking at for the Niners, very talented, should be able to get after a pass rush, but they should be able to shut down the running game. Both of these secondaries, very susceptible to the passing game. Not a lot of talent in either one, but also more of the determining factor week one that we try to set up here. Yes, I know offenses are behind the defenses. I get all that, but I actually like the fact that it's going to be 92 muggy hot and kickoff at Tampa Bay, because that means those big boys on the defensive line, after their 63rd pass rush of the game, they're going to be slowing down midway through the fourth quarter. I think we're going to see some points. Both of these teams should be able to get into the 20s, and I see them dialing it up. Give me Jameis Winston. Give me the resurgence of now a healthier offense for the 49ers. Give me the over 50 in this game.
The over 50. Pinnacle opened this up at 49. They're now up to 51. Pinnacle also opened this up as a pick'em. Then the Bucks became the favorite. Back to a pick'em. Bucks became a dog. Now the Bucks are a 1-point favorite again. This is all at Pinnacle. Whale Capper, Donnie RightSide is on the over. What move are you making, if any, on this game?
Ooh, so this was an easy look for me on the Bucks, and I'll tell you why. These two teams are pretty much dead even the way you handicap them, and one of them is at home, and that team is the Bucks, which means I make them a 3-point favorite in this game. And if you're I got them in a pick them at -104. I thought that was a disrespectful price. And the differentiating factor for me in this one is the one thing I would be afraid of if I'm backing Jameis Winston is that he is going to turn the ball over. He's going to make a bad decision. He's going to throw it in a tight window where he doesn't have time to throw it, and he's going to turn over the ball through the air. This Niners team cannot capitalize on that. They have an extremely poor ability to create interceptions. It's almost bizarre because interceptions are not certain things that you can predict from team to team, year to year. It tends to be random. This team does not have ball hawks. They cannot intercept the ball. They do not cover well at all, which means that any down that they are not getting, any passing down where they are not getting pressure on Jameis Winston, he's going to be able to pick this team apart, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. So I think that we're looking at a pretty clear and obvious situation here where the Bucs are getting to 28, 30 points, and it's just a matter of that point of whether they can keep the Jimmy Garoppolo on the road coming off an ACL. Can they in any way limit him to the mid-20s range? And I think that they can. So, I'm capping this one 27-24. I can see a scenario where the Bucs do even better than that. And I'm looking for a Bucs money line play here on this home game where they are being disrespected.
Wow, that's a very interesting take, but a lot of agreement from both of your plays. The Buccaneers money line coming from our whale capper, and the over coming from Donnie RightSide. Jay Scum also on the Niners over. A lot of people backing this spot that you guys are on. Mohammed Jomas with a yes whale. Yes. Chris Sanitate says, I like the over. Theodore McIntosh says, nice play, Donnie. There we go. Barry Block says, I'll never back the Bucs as long as Useless Winston is the starting quarterback. Eating W's. Eating sweaty-handed W's is Winston. Okay, let's keep rolling. I did pull the trigger on Lions -2.5. Sure, Patricia is under, a long line of defensive coordinators that get rewarded for Belichick's work. But, I think Kerryon Johnson can do big things. I like the offseason moves of the Lions. I think it's going to be very difficult for Murray to read the situation with this porous offensive line in front of him. And I'm on the Lions -2.5. It doesn't matter how bad the Lions looked in the preseason. I had to make this move, and I did make this move. Donnie RightSide, Lions Cardinals. Oh, okay, Donnie, we lost your vocals right there.
I'm back.
Okay, he's back. Donnie's back. Okay.
Yeah, it was smoking over here. I was so excited about this game to try to tell you that I was taking Detroit in the pick six contest that maybe it didn't filter through. But I'm taking them as well, Jimmy. -2.5 is what we have now. The reason being I like this football game. It's simple. It's week one. I don't want to outsmart myself right here. If we're going to harken back to those Philadelphia Eagles days where Chip Kelly opened up versus the Washington Redskins and Jim Haslett had absolute smoke coming out his ears because he had no idea what Chip Kelly was doing to him for the first 3 quarters of that opening win over the Washington Redskins a couple years back. I don't see that as the case here. We're talking about a coach that hasn't coached in the NFL. We're talking about a quarterback that has never played in the NFL. You're talking about a team that went through the preseason where there wasn't a lot to cheer for the Arizona Cardinals other than, it's very vanilla, and I can't wait to see the real playbook coming out. This is a game for me that had as a theme for the Detroit Lions when you break it down with Patricia, year 2, more veterans on this football team, no Patrick Peter for Arizona, that if they don't win this football game, just keep the plane in Detroit and forfeit the rest of the season because they're going to get hammered. This is a team that should be better prepared to win this football game, has better players to win the football game. They got to win this football game. Detroit Lions -2.5. That's going to be one of my pick 6 plays.
They have to win this football game. No Patrick Peterson. I'm with you. I mean, if you can't beat the Cardinals, this Cardinals group week 1, who can you beat? Whale Capper, both Donnie and I are on the Lions -2.5. Not afraid of Patricia's bumbling. What do you think here?
Well, the Lions have gotten kicked around by us this whole preseason, and I'm surprised after we learned a good lesson, you should never lean the Lions, that here you are playing the Lions. But I'm in the same boat with you, actually, and kind of by accident. Not really by accident, but I was trying to get ahead of a line move. I thought the Lions were going to be frisky this year back in May. I was like, you know what? Why are they a pick 'em against the Cardinals? in week 1. That's terrible. I'm going to bet that now, get some closing line value. Hopefully it gets above 3 and I can, capture a middle or something like that. Because, here's what I know. The Cardinals stink. They stink. The Lions also stink. The best outcome for us in this game is that one of these two teams looks amazing and really impresses and surprises and looks world beating. And then we get a beautiful inflated line to come back against this team next week. Because I got to tell you, neither of these teams is making any noise in the playoff discussion this year. And there's going to be a lot of good opportunities to fade both of these squads based on the coaching, based on the scheme, and based on kind of the limitations on each roster. So this is one I will not be watching much of. Even though I have a pretty decent position on the Lions from several months ago.
Nice look. Good work getting them at a pick 'em. Let's move on to Giants at Cowboys. I did make a move on the under 45.5. That's where it is right now. It's where it's opened. It's where it is right now. There are 7.5s on the board now for Dallas. I'm just comfortable seeing as many runs as possible and sitting back with Rod Marinelli's defense and hopefully counting my money on this under 45.5 minus 103. Donnie, RightSide, Giants at Cowboys. And let's speed this one up a little bit because we want to take a little bit more time on the Sunday Nighter and the 2 Monday Nighters.
Yep, keep it quick in this one. I don't have a side to actually go off of. Dallas Cowboys 7.5. That line's done and moved. If it was 6.5 or less, I might have been interested in. But for the sake of the show, looking at that now, it's not there. Just looking from a real quick perspective, the Dallas defense sets up so well to bury this New York Giants offense. Saquon Barkley, sensational, transcending running back. Well, look at that front seven for the Dallas Cowboys that are every bit as fast as he is, it seems like, at the linebacker position. You have no weapons at wide receiver for the New York Giants. You have a decent secondary for the Dallas Cowboys. And that offensive line that has been atrocious. If we're just leaning on it's another year where the Giants hopefully will get better on the offensive line. I don't see it coming here. I think a Dallas defensive avalanche on Eli Manning in this football game. It would be Dallas or nobody for me here.
Dallas or nobody. Whale Capper, I'm on the under 45.5. Do you have a move on this game?
I like your under 45.5 look a lot. I think an under makes a ton of sense here. I took Giants plus 7.5. The Giants are a team that I think we saw a lot of in the preseason. We saw them trying hard. We saw them develop some of their young talent in the passing game, which is going to be important as they miss a couple pieces here from suspensions and injuries. And, I think anytime I'm seeing plus 7.5 in a week 1 game between two teams that are this familiar, between two offenses that we know have clear and obvious limitations. And, oh, by the way, the Giants who tried all preseason and the Cowboys who have yet to kind of come together as a squad. We haven't seen Amari Cooper, take meaningful snaps with Dak Prescott. We haven't seen Zeke Elliott do anything in this preseason. We don't even know. Zeke Elliott, a huge injury risk, honestly, week 1. So the Giants are a decent look here at plus 7.5. I think they keep this competitive. And an under is a good look.
I know quite a few people that are on the Giants at that number once it got to 7 or 7.5. I know quite a few people. Mr. Rizzo says, give me New York and the points. Creating Capital Tyler says, agree with the under. Shell Dog liking the under there. Viper says, leaning under. I like it. Joe Yurford says, Giants were moving the ball in the preseason. We shall see if they can put that together against the Marinelli-led defense. Okay, let's go to this big Sunday nighter. Steelers at Patriots. Talked about this on Tuesday. I think the Steelers are being disrespected and undervalued. Does that mean I want to go against Brady at Foxborough? I don't know. And knowing that our very own Donnie RightSide is not backing these Steelers on the other side, it gives me pause. Let's hear your guys' breakdowns. I do not have a look on this Steelers-Patriots game. Here we go. They open up at minus 5.5. They go up to minus 6 and then back down to minus 5.5. This total opened at 49.5, but it went all the way up, right? Let's just see what Pinnacle did with this total. This total went all the way up to, I guess not. At Pinnacle, it opened at 51.5. But we saw some wild numbers. I know that it did touch 53 at some books. Now down to 49.5. Donnie RightSide, the Sunday Nighter. Big Ben versus Tom Brady. What do you see happening here?
It's going to be a really good one. And for the pick six competition, I did pick the New England in this football game, minus 5.5. And simple reason behind this is when you were lining up for opening day, right? Super Bowl champions, they get their rings, they celebrate on Thursday night, and everybody can see it. It's the kickoff for the football season. But We didn't actually see that this year. The NFL stepped in and said, that old perceived notion, we don't like you, New England. You know what? This year, we're going to put you on Sunday night. We're just going to let the Bears and the Packers get after it for the 100 season of NFL football. So that disrespect adds on there. I actually like what's going on. Josh Gordon, out of nowhere, into the fold as a starting wide receiver to help, try to offset a little bit on Gronkowski. The New England Patriots at home, less than a touchdown. You don't make money going against that because that means the team that's on the road has to come in and beat the New England Patriots. Yes, I know the New England Patriots usually take the first half of September, sort of feel out what they're going to do, and then start running the football late in the season and dominating, getting ready for that Foxborough weather. I think the line is a little bit cheaper. And again, I know a lot of people that like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I certainly can see an angle in that way. But when I'm taking a look at just this football game and what the New England Patriots like to do, taking away your best player, it's one thing when you have to take away Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster can eat being in one-on-one coverage. You can have a pretty good scheme of that. But now they're going to take away Juju Smith-Schuster, and Moncrief is supposed to win this football game for the Steelers in this one. Give me New England by a touchdown this one, Jimmy.
Wow, taking New England by a touchdown. Probably going to keep me on the sidelines at this point. Mohammed Joma says, guys, primetime first half unders are gold. Right below that, Robert Weimer says, first half under is my main play in this game. Both teams will be feeling out each other like a blind man at a whorehouse. That's from Robert Weimer.
Yeah.
Whale Capper, Steelers at Patriots.
A blind man at a whorehouse. Okay. Donnie and I are going head-to-head on this one. I do not think the Patriots in their current state have the ability to boat race this team. The Steelers are a complete roster. In your setup when we were talking about the Ravens, you're right. Steelers are being disrespected. This is a complete team. They got addition by subtraction getting ready by Antonio Brown. They have weapons in the passing game that can challenge these Patriots. And, really and truly, I think they're live dogs to win this game. But more than anything, this is going to be a tight game. This is going to be close. Every Steelers-Patriots game we've seen in the last handful of years has been very competitive. There's been a couple of plays either way that have decided this thing. And if you're telling me that the Patriots are 3 points better on a neutral field than the Steelers, I am not buying that, especially week one, especially, before we see the Patriots kind of figure themselves out, especially with Tom Brady as a new center. David Andrews will not be snapping the ball to him. That has not been accounted for in this line. This line came out. We saw 6. David Andrews, IR. The line did not move. That is huge. A center being out on the eve of the regular season starting should impact the line, and it has not. That tells me there's line value. This is an easy and obvious play. Take the 6 points. Watch a competitive game. It's probably an underlook, too. I probably should have gotten that number before it's been bet down as far as it's been bet down, because I think both of these defenses are legit, and I think both of these offenses still need to figure some things out. So this is a good look for Steelers and unders as far as I handicap this.
Wow, look at that. Going head-to-head with Donnie RightSide. And the Sports Gag says 1,000% agree, Whale, that this line is crazy. We talked a lot about Andrews, Donnie and I, on Tuesday, and there's just a belief with this Patriots team that they have this next man up. Always. They've replaced their left tackle 2 seasons in a row. But, maybe Whale Capper's pushing me towards the Steelers. Man, that's a great, great game. I can't wait for Sunday night. All right, let's move into these 2 Monday nighters, and I want to make moves all over these 2 games. At this point, I think I might be making 4 moves. Let's break it down quickly. Texans at Saints. Look, I already gave you an idea. I like the Texans here. I want to get this 7 while it's available. A bookmaker, Bet Online, Bovada, Intertops. I also think that the over's in play. Open at 52.5, still at 52.5. I think Kiko Alonso's a nice pickup for the Saints. The way the Saints lost the NFC Championship, for me, that does nothing. I don't care. I don't think that makes them hungrier. In fact, I think that's deflating. That doesn't. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they're good due." Fuck due. I mean, I don't see them being due. Breeze had great numbers last year, but we watched him not be able to throw the long ball, the deep ball. Maybe the arm fatigue will happen later. But Tunsil is going to make a huge impact in a very positive way. We know that Clowney was a great run defender, but he was never a great, pass rusher, and he should have been. With JJ beside him, he should have been getting 15 sacks a year because everybody's worried about JJ. I know JJ was hurt too. Titus Howard going to move over because of Tunsil. Going to have the best protection that he's ever had. I know that Lamar Miller loss hurts, but Carlos Hyde, an underrated pickup. Load management will help him. Duke Johnson can run the ball. I like the Texans. I like the Texans here, and I like the over. I've not made these moves yet, but I'm very interested in making them. Donnie RightSide, Texans Saints.
A tough one here to start. And again, it's one of those things where if it gets to 7, you probably lean towards the Texans for me, and a little bit less for the New Orleans. This is one of the games that's so hard to bet because it's the singular place in the NFL outside of, even Kansas City. It's the one environment where it's so intriguing because you don't get this in sport, where the home team has such an advantage because the other team can't hear anything. And when you're on offense, you can hear a pin drop for New Orleans. There's a lot of moving parts here. I do like the Tunsil move. I do like the Stills move. They're loaded for bear, and they should win the division now when we take a look at everything. But this is still prime time. This is early in the season. I know Whale Capper's talked about arm fatigue for Drew Brees. His arm should be as fresh as it could possibly be. And, don't think for 1 second that every single call on that field that's even close to a pass interference is going to be called for New Orleans in this one. Give me New Orleans at 6.5.
Did you make that an official play, Donnie?
No, it's not an official play, but I do like it.
Okay. Wow. You know what? Okay. Let's see what Whale Capper has to say about this. Whale Capper, Donnie liking the Saints, I'm liking the Texans, and I'm liking the over.
Well, okay, so short of some referee foolishness, I think the Texans are clearly the right side in this game. I share a little bit of your bullishness about the Texans, Jimmy, not as much. I still think Bill O'Brien is a poor coach. I still think there are some key and obvious problematic holes in this roster that keep them from the top tier of the AFC and will make it tough for them to win the AFC South. All that said, they are going to be very live in this game. My position kind of heading into this season is that the market is wildly high on a Saints team whose window has closed. I see Drew Brees, every freaking video clip I've seen from him in camp, every practice shot I've seen, every preseason snap, he's thrown every preseason pregame he's throwing the ball, before the game starts. His arm strength is an enormous concern as far as I handicap this team. And I think we are going to see a potential for him to be replaced over the course of the season as they try to give him more time to get right and get healthy, because I think it's a shoulder injury, arm strength thing that's tough to deal with when you turn 40 years old. I wouldn't know what that's like. I'm not 40, but I assume it's bad. And anyway, the Texans in this spot set up well. They match up well. They're the only place that they are susceptible on defense is to the deep pass. And I don't think Drew Brees is going to be able to beat them with that weapon. And so the Texans can kind of cheat up a little bit. They can kind of, play the middle and the short passing game more. The depth of target for Brees is crept down over the last half of the last season. And, I think this is a good spot for the Texans to compete. They may not win, but 6.5 points is a nice one for me.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. SportsGeek said sent it out at 7. I would have bet them outright if O'Brien wasn't the coach. I'm very excited. Creating Capital says, telling you guys, take Texans 50-1 now after they beat the Saints. Wow. I like it. Okay, let's move on to the final game, and we got to be quick here, but we will be cutting this one out. Broncos at Raiders, being a big move since Antonio Brown says he's coming back, or he's going to play Monday. I love it, because I'm going to back the Broncos here. I love it. I'm going to take the Broncos and the under. I think this is just a mistake for people to think that Brown is going to be making this huge difference. Chubb is going to be a monster this year. I expect him to be even better than Millet. These are the best tandem coming off the edge that there is. Cortland Sutton, big body receiver who can take a step forward. Emmanuel Sanders, so underrated. If Flacco doesn't mess this up, if he just manages this offense, their defense is going to be spectacular. Fangio's in a perfect spot. And all this stuff going around Antonio Brown, the circus is in town. The circus is in town, and it's being run by Gruden. And I like the Broncos, and I like the under, and I love this move over to the Raiders that's happened in the last little bit. Donnie RightSide, Broncos, Raiders. And do you like the Broncos in the under?
Yeah, it's a bad game to begin with, and this is what I love about the NFL too. They just bury this game on the late night at 10:20 or 10:30 start of Monday Night Football. That 99% of the East Coast will be tucked way into bed before all these antics. You know what's going to be interesting about this game, as opposed to capping it and getting after it, is Antonio Brown going to possibly not come out of the halftime to start the second half? Is he going to quit mid-game because he only has 2 targets? This has so much disaster written all over it, and that's not even getting to the Broncos offense, which is going to be pedestrian at absolute best. There's a reason this game is at 10:20. I don't have a side, I don't have a total, and I'll probably be tucked in just like everybody else on the East Coast, not even watching this one.
Oh man, I'm gonna be pumped for this one. I'm gonna have the belt around my neck, the pants around the ankles. I'm gonna be ready to do it up for Broncos Raiders. I like the Broncos. I like the under. I want to make moves on this game. Whale Capper, am I in the right direction?
Dude, the crowd here in Vegas got so upset at Donnie's slandering of the Raiders there. Oh, my gosh. There's a lot of Raiders fans here in Vegas, and they are having none of this. In seriousness, though, like I think there's line value on the Raiders. Am I going to bet that? Never. This is a game that sets up well for a first half under for me. I don't mind a first half under and go to bed. I mean, if you really think it's not going to be entertaining down the stretch, then, by all means tune out. But I do think that this is a very, very tightly contested game. I think the defenses on both sides with, kind of the young, energetic kind of spirit of these teams is going to be set the tone a little bit here. And I think the Broncos probably went out just on the basis of they're a little bit deeper. They have a little bit sharper rushing attack. And I think they're going to wear them down. And, the Raiders are thin. The Raiders are young. And, they may be competitive early. They may surprise early. They may take a lead into halftime. But I think that eventually, the depth and the talent will prevail here, and the Broncos will eke out a win. But my only play on this one is going to be a first half under, and it's pretty small.
First half under from Whale Capper. I'm making moves on this Monday. I can't wait for Monday night. I'm going to be making moves on these two games, on both totals and sides. There you have it. There is our full coverage of week 1 regular season. I am so pumped up. So let me quickly go over. We've got to make moves. We've got to shut this show down. Let me quickly make moves and tell you guys what we are on for the Whale Capper. Whale Capper's on the Minnesota Vikings Falcons over 47 at -105. He's on the Jets Bills over 40.5 at -104. He's on the Buccaneers money line at -104. He's on the Browns under 45.5 at -105. The Panthers over 50.5 at +103. He's on the Bengals +8.5 at -106. Giants +7.5 at -110. Pittsburgh +6 at -110. Houston +6 at +108. There is the Whale Capper's actions. Donnie RightSide is on the Jets -3 at -105. The Rams -2.5 at -110. 49ers, Buccaneers over 49.5 at -120. The Lions -2.5 at -118. The Patriots -5.5 at -114. That is Donnie RightSide's action. And I have a ton of action. The main thing I did was I have the Ravens at -4.5. That was from earlier. I have futures action. But on the card for Sunday, I'm on the Eagles, Redskins under 45 at -105. I may make a move on the Titans Browns under, knowing that that's Whale Capper's 2-unit play. But I'm on the under 50 at -105 in Rams, Panthers. I'm on the under 44 at -103. Bengals, Seahawks, Colts +6.5 at -105. Lions -2.5 at -105. The under 45.5 at -103. And I'm going to be making moves on those Monday Nighters. What a treat it is to roll with you guys. What a treat it is to have this great crowd, this great chat, giving us insights and telling jokes and just pumping us up with excitement all the time. We have no show without you guys. Donnie RightSide, any last words before our big Sunday?
Yeah, no, next 2 weeks, I'm just hoping to stay 500 because as somebody said it best in the chat box, me betting the first 2 weeks is exactly like a blind man being in a whorehouse. So we'll have some fun with it, see what happens. And that's what it's about, baby. I'm ready to go. NFL's here. Let's do it.
Oh, man. Whale Capper, any last words for our crowd? Have a wonderful time in Las Vegas.
We're getting lit here in Vegas now. We're celebrating the new year. We got it's finally back to NFL season. You guys enjoy. Everybody have a great time and best of luck.
There he is. There they both are. Donnie RightSide and the Whale Capper. On behalf of me, Jimmy the Bag, thank you guys so much. We have no show without you. I mean that. Now, we're going to have our records up all year. We're making official selections all year, so let the money roll in, please. Let the money roll in, please. Let the money roll in. Thank you guys so much. Let's have a giant Sunday. Enjoy it, because we all will, and we have no show without you guys. On behalf of Donnie RightSide, Whale Capper, myself, and everyone down at SBR, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get that cash. See you guys soon.